Hi dear students, welcome back to the English session. In the previous session, we partly learned about the poem The Schoolboy, which is written by William Blake. There, we learned that poet William Blake, he expresses his views about formal education. He finds that formal education takes away the joy of childhood as it restricts the growth of the child and it hinders the mental and physical growth of the child. And it is a poem, it criticizes the present education system and attitude of the parents towards their children's education. And also we further studied that poet as if a child who speaks about the experience of the school. There we also learned that he loves to rise early in the morning because to listen the chirping sounds of the birds which always morning sit on the trees and which announces the day breaks to the child. So poet William Blake, who loves to rise in the early morning and he likes to have a sweet company of the hunter who blows his horn from far off places, and also he wants to enjoy the sweet company of the skylark. He compared a skylark's songs as a lullabies. For this jocund company, he wished to rise early in the morning. And it is a matter of utmost disappointment for a child to attend the school, because as and when he comes to the school, he feel dreary and all the joy which he collected in the morning takes away the prospects and the learning things of the classroom. So he is not interested to sit in the classroom and he felt like it is a prison and he is a prisoner inside the classroom. He cannot find any delight and happiness from the textbook when he sit in the classroom. He felt boredom and dismay. Sometimes he sit silently inside the classroom at the corner and he felt sighing and dismay. So it was the condition of the poet when he was going to the school in his childhood. Totally he says that entire his childhood spoiled by his formal education. Even in the third stanza, we have learned that it is all the confinement of the classroom where children are restricted to sit for a long time. There they won't find any opportunity to express their talent, express their free opinion, because they have to sit under the supervision of the teacher, and the teachers handle the students with the help of their cane and with the help of their steering look. Thus, the child who did not find any happiness inside the classroom, instead he wants to be in the company of the nature, just to enjoy the beauty and just to listen the songs of the bird and just to enjoy the hunter's horn sound. So these are the things he wished to have in his early life, but everything ruined and spoiled by the prospectus of going to school. Those things we discussed in the previous session. Well students, in today's session, let us learn more about the poem The Schoolboy and remaining 3 stanzas of the poem. Let us discuss the next 4th stanza. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child when feels annoyed but droops his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Dear students, the 4th stanza is more important than any other stanza, because here the thought and the feelings of the poet flow more musically and smoothly than other stanza. Look at the first 2 lines. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? See, a bird is born cheerfully and jovial, can never sing sweet songs if caged. Similarly, a boy, if restricted under the umbrella of annoying fear, that child cannot enjoy anything in his life. He feel dismay and he feel restlessness. Even the rigid course of discipline will ruthlessly take away the instincts and playfulness. So, poet says that a child in the classroom is like a bird inside the cage. A bird, when it loses its freedom, it cannot feel happy and it cannot sing happily, merrily in its own way. Once again, go to the first line of the fourth stanza. How can the bird that is born for joy? Bird is born for free and cheerful and joyful. If you cage them, how can it sing sweet song by sitting in the cage? Can it possible? No. Similarly, a boy is compelled to or forced to sit inside the classroom against to his wish and will. That boy cannot express his own hidden talent and he cannot flourish his creativity. That's what he considers a child's life inside the classroom as a caged bird. Caged bird feel grief and it cannot sing merrily, happily. So, how can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? That cannot sing sweet song. Similarly, even the child also cannot learn, cannot feel any happiness, and it does not, and the child does not feel any happiness sitting inside the classroom. And we heard one of the famous English poet, John Keats. He had composed one poetry, that is the Dove. He loses his love, that's what he caught a free flying bird dove and he kept it in a silver cage and he loved it immensely. He kissed it often, he provided white peace with golden plate. However and whatever care he has taken, but the bird does not feel happy and does not be happy with the poet. So poet John Keats, he worried a lot. Why dove is not feeling happy of my company? I gave everything to it, but the bird is not happy. Later on, after sometimes the dove is dead because it felt grief inside the cage and it stopped to sing and it stopped to feel happiness, and one day it is died. Now poet questions himself. Every pleasantries and luxurious I have provided to the bird, but why didn't be happy with me? And eventually he understood the reality that of course he gave every pleasantries to the dove by caging it inside the cage, by providing food, by kissing, but he did not provide it freedom. Dear students, thus we conclude that yes, freedom is worthier than anything. So if we have a freedom, we have a right to self-expression and we can think our own way and we can lead our life our own way. That's what yes, poet John Keats, he understood the reality that we should not curb the freedom of some object or some animals. If you curb their freedom, that stops feeling happy and that stops singing happily. That we can understand with the example. Let us move to the third line. How can a child when fears annoy but droop his tender wing? Bird is not happy when you keep it inside the cage. Similarly, when the boy is forced to attend the school, he is not happy inside the classroom. So, how can a child when feels annoyed? He feels fear. He has a tension about the teacher, about the teacher's questions, about the punishment. So, with the umbrella of annoying fear, that the child does not express his freedom, his equality and his hope. So, it but droops its tender wing. How can a bird, by bending its wing and sit inside the cage, in the same way that soft boy, he bends his smooth body and he sits inside the classroom restlessly without expressing his interest, taste and preference, without mingling with the others also, because none is there to take care of him and to consider his feelings. He boy who sits inside the classroom like a child, his tender wings droop. Here the term tender wing refers the child has thought, ideas and feelings. I mean they are the tender feelings that is ruined by the school and classroom activity. That child who sits inside the classroom by bending its body without having any joy or pleasure in his mind, and forget his youthful spring. The child has its own spirit, feelings and ideas because of the compulsion of the teachers' work as well as the rules and regulation of the school that hinders the child to not to express his feeling. So he himself forget his spirit of playing, spirit of reading or spirit of enjoying the childhood, and he sit himself inside the classroom by forgetting his own life. So dear student, in the third stanza we understood that a child's life inside the classroom is like a bird's life inside the cage. Yes, next we'll move to the fifth stanza. Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrows and cares dismay. So further, the poet William Blake in the fifth stanza, he has taken some object to compare the life of the child to compares the life of the plants, blossoms, birds. So in the fifth stanza, we comes to know that yes, here the poet who appeals to the higher authority here, parents. He asks questions to the parents. Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away. Yes, dear students, in spring season we can see that almost all flower plants, even the tender plants or the saplings, they sprout out new leaf or they provide buds, and after 2 or 3 months they blooms to get a beautiful flower. So here the terms used like birds or blossoms or a tender plant, they are similar to the child's life. So he appeals to the parents that if a tender bud nipped and stripped in the spring season, how we can expect a beautiful flower in the summer season. So here poet compares the plants, I mean the tender plant or tender bud to the life of the child. If we destroy the childhood of the child, that child may not become a strong individual person or ideal person in his adulthood. See here the instances given here. Oh, father and mother, he addresses the parents that if buds are nipped, a plant which gives new tender buds, if you pinch and remove that tender buds, will we expect a beautiful flower in future or upcoming days? No. So same way he confirmed the parents that if you destroy or spoils the happiness of the child, in their childhood, that child may not expect the future happenings and future happiness. So have you understood the example used here to compare the life of a child in childhood? And blossoms blown away. If you throw a bud by slipping or by nipping from the plant to the air, that bud cannot grow or cannot become a beautiful flower. And if the tender plants are stripped, yes, if you want to get a beautiful, sweet or a delicious mango in the summer season, in spring season we should nourish and we should take care of it. Suppose if you want sweet fruits in the future or in the summer season, in their tenderness, in the spring, when it is so tender, we need to take care of it. So that if you pattern it, if you take care of it, if you protect it, that same tender fruit can grow and it may become a fruit in a later days. So that we can enjoy a delicious fruit in a summer. It is only possible by protecting and by nurturing it from its birth to till its ripes. Same way, the poet says that if we allow or let the child to enjoy their childhood happily, freely, that child can expect a beautiful adulthood based on the happiness of the childhood. Suppose if you removed the tender plant or tender buds or tender fruits of the particular plant, that plant cannot survive and that plant cannot give any fruit in the future. So, and if the tender plants are stripped, what there can be grown in summer? So, poet questions that what there can be growth if buds are cut, if tender plants are cut. How can the plant survive? So that in the future or in the summer there will be no fruits, there will be full of tedious and dry. So here the life of the plant, if you nipped or stripped, that plant cannot be survived in the future. Even we won't expect any fruit from it. So we should allow the child to enjoy the childhood, so that that child would expect the happiness of the adulthood and old age too. Here he used the season name. Here spring is compared to childhood, summer is compared to youth, adulthood, and winter season old age. If spring is happy, then summer will be happy and winter will be too happy. But winter season we have to get the blast of the winter, the storm. But if we are strong enough in adulthood, yes, we are determined to face the winter season, old age in our life. Of their joy in the springing day, by sorrow and care's dismay. So dear student, if we take care of the particular plant of the fruit or a flower, and the same plant or a fruit plant will grow and it will provide us a delicious fruit or a beautiful flower in summer season. Suppose we checked the growth of that plant will not provide any fruit or any flower. Of their joy in the springing day, if we curb the joy of a plant or a child in their springing day refers here childhood, by sorrow and care's dismay. If we let the child to feel sorrow, unhappy, restlessness, dreary in the childhood, that child loses his hope to live long happily in the future. I hope you have understood the stanza's meaning of fifth. Let us move on to the next sixth stanza. How shall the summer arise in joy or the summer's fruits appear, or how shall we gather what grief destroy, or blow the mellowing ear when the blasts of winter appear. So in the sixth stanza also, poet equates the life of the child to life of a plant. If we take care of the particular plant and nourish it by providing the manure and water, that plant will grow properly and it will provide us good yield. So he says to the parents that if you take care and nourish of your child, that child will enjoy the childhood and it will become an ideal and a strong individual person. How shall the summer arise in joy? If a particular plant's springing is not good, or if the childhood of the child is devoid of joy, then how can we expect something special in the future? So he questions, how shall the summer arise in joy? If you spoiled the life of the boy or in childhood, that child may not grow happily. How shall the summer arise in joy? Summer means adulthood, youth. A particular child loses his childhood happiness. So there is nothing to look forward to have something special in the future, in the summer season. The spring of the child is not at all good, then how can we expect the summer of the child will be good? Or the summer's fruit appear. See, if you stripped or nipped the tender plants or tender fruit of a particular plant, how can we expect a sweet, fruitful or sweet flower in the future? Similarly, if we spoil or curb the childhood of the boy, that boy won't be happy in the adulthood. Here, summer's fruit appear in the sense, if you nourish the particular plant, that plant will provide a sweet fruit. Or how shall we gather what grief destroy? Yes, in the childhood, child has to enjoy all the things. He has to play with his friends. He has to do some misbehavior, as well as he has to do some childish funny things, and he has to play, he has to jump, he has to enjoy the beauty of the nature, and he has to, in its own life, he has to enjoy the life. When a childhood crossed, if a particular child has assumed or attained adulthood, can he go back to again childhood and enjoy? It is never possible. So he questions, how shall we gather what grief destroy? Because of the sorrows and restlessness, he totally missed his childhood. So how can we enjoy his future life without enjoying the childhood? He questions, how shall we gather what grief destroy? The grief, sorrows, the prospectus of going to school, it destroyed his childhood. Can he take back, can he go back to the childhood once again? It is never possible. Or bless the mellowing year in the sense autumn. Even he did not enjoy his childhood, then he loses its interest to enjoy his adulthood. Or bless the mellowing year when the blasts of winter appear. When old age appears, how he can enjoy? Because he had not found anything pleasure or enjoyment in his life from childhood till there. So he has no desire to have good life in the winter, in the old age, or in the summer, in the adulthood. So he again stresses the importance that when the blast of winter appear, when the blast of storm appears, if we have no yield in the summer season from the paddy field or from any plant or crop, how can we survive in the winter season? Winter is a season where we can't grow any crops. If your crops or your yield is good in the summer season, we can be stored for winter season and we can survive. If we won't yield or if we won't get good reward in the summer, how can we survive in the winter season is stresses. So when the blast of winter appear, when the winter season appear, how we can survive and how can we enjoy our life in stresses importance. So the schoolboy poem which tells that we have to change the formal education system, and the poet stresses the importance that education should be provided in the garden or with the company of the nature. Such learning helps the children to lead his life happily and his life become fruitful. And one thing we should remember that poet William Blake is not against the education. He says that education system should be healthy, and he is against the unhealthy practices in the education system, and he says that there should not be any restlessness or dismay in the classroom, and education should be provided in a conducive, harmonious and free atmosphere, and we should not make the children as caged bird inside the classroom. There should be ample opportunity to tap the children's potentiality, and we should turn him or them to a productive human being. Thus, he makes it crystal clear that childhood experiences are very important to lead a successful and a proper life, and school has a major role in determining the childhood experience in the growth of the child. So dear students, the schoolboy gives the message that education should be harmonious as well as it should not hinder or curb the taste and preference of the child, and even parents should understand the feelings, taste and interest of the child. Then they should give some rules and regulations. Unless understanding the taste and preference of the child, if the parents force them to go school and learn something, and that won't be fruitful. So dear students, we have learnt the schoolboy poetry. Thank you very much.